Today with Ray. Hello, my friends. Will HP publish their fourth quarter financials and their year end? Their year ended in September. And folks, I got to be honest, when I looked at the numbers, well, I got excited because it proved to me that the work from home fantasy about printing, well, I'm right. HP's numbers prove it. HP's numbers prove there is no volume in the work from home movement. It's pure fantasy. Now everybody's saying, well, Ray, I heard HP had great numbers. Jim Cramer's telling you to buy their stock. Well, maybe Jim Cramer doesn't understand printing. I don't know. But here's the reality, folks. HP's numbers prove that the work from home printing volume is not near what people think it is. Let me explain. We all would agree that HP has the largest market share of any other print manufacturer for the device in the house. Would we not? I don't think we're going to say that Konika's got more printers in people's houses than HP, or Toshiba, or Sharp, or Ricoh, or Xerox. None of these people have more printers in people's houses than HP. They've owned that space for a long time. I would conclude they probably have an 85 to 90% market share of home printing equipment. And here's the deal. If they have all this equipment in people's houses and they've had it there for a long, long time, why are their numbers flat? You see, HP didn't knock it out of the park with a whole bunch of revenue beaten last year by billions of dollars. They're flat. They're flat, folks. And if they're flat, what does that mean? You would think that all these printers in people's houses would be printing all kinds of stuff. 6 months of HP's year was in a pandemic. You would think it would be knocking it off the park. Pull up their numbers. Go to their website. They're right there. Let me get my ClearTouch interactive board working here, folks. You can see that at their printing business, they did $4.8 billion in revenue. $4.8 billion last quarter. This was HP's fourth quarter. $4.8 billion. But if you look over here at supplies net revenue, guess what? It's down. It's down 1%. Might as well say it's flat, but you would think HP's got all these printers in people's houses. They would have been just slamming toner through there. All these kids printing stuff. They're home from school printing all kinds of stuff. Mom and dad's printing thousands of documents on their home printers. They got to fax them all over the world. Sounds pretty stupid, doesn't it? Well, it is pretty stupid. But the entire industry, every single damn manufacturer in it, has become obsessed with the work from home. The work from home is not going to produce volumes of print. And I conclude that HP's numbers prove it. And the other thing I would add is this. Here's the question. HP had some backorder problems. You remember? Remember a few months ago they had some backorder problems? Dealers were screaming, resellers were screaming. Hell, some were calling up Clover, hey, we need some supplies, we need some ink, we can't get it from HP. So the question is, they brought the supplies revenue up from the quarter before, but how much of that supply revenue is just sitting in resellers' warehouses, not actually in printers in people's houses? How many resellers that are falling into this fantasy about these billions of pages that are going to be printed in people's houses are buying all these supplies and storing them because they don't want to run out again? Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you got to look at the numbers and you got to look behind the numbers and then you got to look in the damn marketplace. And here's the other question I would ask HP. Maybe they can answer it in the comments. You say you got 8 million subscribers. Subscription Inc. 8 million people. Fantastic home run. Pretty soon they'll be, canceling those subscriptions when they realize they don't print in their house. But let me ask you a question. Those 8 million subscribers, how do you recognize that revenue? Because none of the analysts asked that question. I'm just asking that question. Are you recognizing a subscription for 18 months all up front? All the revenue? Or are you going to recognize it as you deliver the ink to the customer in their house because they need more ink? Just a question. So we need to think about where all the revenue went. Because if the revenue just went to resellers' warehouses, not into end users' printers, that's not a home run. That's not an indication that home printing's on this super, super rise. Folks, we're going to sell some PCs in people's houses. A lot of people bought PCs. Dell's PCs, numbers were off the chart. HP had great growth in their PC business, but look at their PC business. Their personal systems, their compute business, this isn't a good story. It's almost a scary story. $10.4 billion in revenue. Well, looks like they're flat. So the whole business is $10.4 billion. We're going to sell everybody in the world a PC to put in their house. Kids are going to buy them Chromebooks, all this stuff. We're going to sell all this stuff. Well, they sold all that stuff. But guess what? They didn't sell any of the desktops. And we've been moving from desktops to, laptops for a long, long time. Pandemic just kind of expedited that. But ladies and gentlemen, here's the problem. Look at their operating profit on that $10.4 billion. $10.4 billion. Almost $6 billion more than printing. Almost $6 billion more dollars than printing, and they only made $528 million operating profit. Look over here, $4.8 billion in printing, operating profit of $713 million. Without this printing business, I believe their personal system business would be probably bankrupt. I'm just saying, it's not any home runs. 5.1%. How do you run a business with 5.1% operating profit? Doesn't leave a whole lot of room for disaster to come in there. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're banking on the print business, if you believe that we're going to turn that 14.8% into 18%, which actually they said on the call yesterday, they're going to get 18% out of this business. Well, I wish you luck. Because if that print ink doesn't move out of those resellers' warehouses, they're not going to buy anymore. If the home users don't print billions of pages like you think they are, well, guess what? You're going to be flat again in your revenue or lower, and you're going to start eating into your operating profit. Or you're going to run into a disaster over here where competitiveness on laptops, because that's a competitive marketplace, folks. Real competitive. So as you start to fight folks like Lenovo and folks like Dell, you don't have a whole lot of room to play with in case you really get disrupted by somebody else. You see, folks, HP took their eye off the ball when they got obsessed with this A3 disruption. And they're taking their eye off the ball like all the other manufacturers in the industry are taking their eye off the ball. They're taking their eye off the ball of the commercial print user, the print in businesses and offices. And they're focusing on this home work environment with print. And it's insanity. We need to start focusing on those offices and start reinventing what those offices are going to look like around print. Because that's the only hope for our revenue. Revenue off hardware and ink or toner in people's houses is going to be so damn low, and it's going to be delivered at such a commodity price structure that the imaging channel, those dealers, those resellers that sell direct to end users, business supplies and services, will not be able to deliver that equipment in the houses profitably. It won't happen. The industry needs to focus on taking A3 to A4 in the office. The industry has to start reinventing the way it finances equipment in the offices and leave the home at home, because it's not going to change the game. It's only distracting from playing the game the way it should be played. That's my 2 cents. And we all know this, my friends. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.